Everybody, this is Professor Bobby Borg, also known as Coach. I'm going to say that again. What's up, everybody? This is Professor Bobby Borg, also known as Coach, and I'm going to do a live office hour. I'm here late at night, and I just thought I'd pump out another quick lesson and overview about what's called place. It's a place, it's a part or a step in the marketing process that deals primarily with distribution, but not just distribution of your records, distribution of your live performance sets, distribution of your merchandise, and also distribution of your songs as well, right? But it's in marketing, we kind of refer to it overall as place, okay? So let's get right to this. I'm going to give you an introduction about what place is all about. So place or distribution is the process of making all of your products and services convenient for your end users to find, book, buy, and or license. So what we're talking about is we're talking about your recordings, your live performance sets, your t-shirts, and your songs, okay? And it's really quite simple. When we think of distribution or we think of place, you have creators that create a product that need to get it to an end user. There's two types of ways to do that. You can go direct, where you go direct to consumer, right? And that's typically where you're going to get the most gross profit margin. And typically when we do that, we're referring mostly to physical product. And then there is place where you need to use intermediary distributors or companies. And that is what's called an indirect form of distribution. So for example, if I'm a creator and I want to get my music to my end user, sort of in the digital realm, I'm going to have to go through a digital aggregator like CD Baby or DistroKid that will then get my music to the DSPs, the digital service providers, that will then get it over to the consumer. And each person in that distribution chain is going to want a cut of the profits. So of course, if they supply a service, you're going to have to pay a price as well. But that's essentially nit and gritty what distribution or place is all about. Keep in mind that when you make decisions about placement or distribution, you shouldn't just make decisions based on things. You should always base it on the research that you do. So for example, you want to go back and you want to look at things like the psychographics of your fans, their activities, interests, and opinions. What are some of the things that they do and where do they do it? Because that is where you need to place your products. Then you need to look at your competitors. Where do your competitors place their products? Because you can use those as inspiration or ideas about where you should be placing your products as well. It's called like marketing in essence. You look at someone that's similar to you, where are they playing live? Where are they placing their merchandise and stuff like that? And that would give you inspiration. We can also think about our branding. When you put your products in certain places, when you play in certain clubs or spaces, it has to be consistent with your brand too, and the identity that you're trying to project, okay? And then also, we need to think sort of our distribution cut, or we need to think about our GPM, or gross profit margin. In other words, some people will not go with CD Baby and they'll go with DistroKid because they don't want to pay the charges that CD Baby imposes on you. Or some people will not play in pay-to-play clubs because they don't want to incur that charge that the clubs are imposing on you, okay? So in any case, these are some of the things you have to think about when making your place decisions. Now let's talk about placing your records. I'm going to do this really quickly. Where are all the places that you can place your music? So first of all, we need to think about the considerations of configuration. So it depends on whether or not you're making just digital product or physical product or maybe NFTs. And it also depends a little bit on whether or not you're releasing singles or albums. But nonetheless, here's some of the things you could do. You can go straight from to the DSPs through a distributor, right? That we know, right? We could also sell from our personal websites. We can sell from community sites like Bandcamp. We can even make our own app with like Mobile Roadie and have our fans download it and buy off of that. Or we can even go to NFT marketplaces like OpenSea and CryptoPunks. We can also do offline record sales. You could do merch booths at your store, at your shows, I beg your pardon. You could do sell from the streets as you're busking, sell at tailgates, sell at flea markets. right? And also you could sell at certain stores. You could sell at record stores, like independent record stores on consignment, or you can even sell at lifestyle stores. You could sell at head shops, right? You could sell at weed shops. You could sell at snowboards shops and things like that. You have to be kind of creative. All right, moving on. Let's talk about placing your performance sets. So where are the places that you can place your live performance sets? So first, online, we could play Twitch, we could play YouTube, we can play Instagram Live, we can play Facebook Live. That is if we're going to perform live online, right? Then you could also play offline at local bars and clubs, of course, we know that. Then we could play alternative venues. We could play things like colleges, military bases, bookstores, coffee lounges, house parties, amusement parks. These are all places that you can play. When it comes to touring, every musician wants to go on tour, but my suggestion would be to play places that are one-offs. That means you can turn around and come back home the same night, so you don't incur costs of like hotels and tolls and gas and things of that nature. You could do what's called gig swapping. So that would mean basically if you were a band, let's just say a frat band at USC, you hook up with the frat band at, in Santa Barbara, and they host you. Maybe you crash at their place, they introduce you to their audience, and then vice versa, you bring them down here. And so you create these kind of alliances with bands by gig swapping and sharing audiences. You can also do anchor events. Those are events like, let's just say if you were to play South by Southwest. South by Southwest is a local area where people are going to come in from all over the world. And then you can use South by Southwest to play clubs sort of like outside of that area. You use it kind of as a hub. And then of course there's festivals, and you can get on festivals. My clients, my students get on the Knots Fest, have gotten on the Vans Warped Tour. And typically the way to do that is to be the hot ticket band in your local town, essentially, right? All right, moving on. What else can you do? Eventually one day you can work with agents. You can work with local promoters. Sometimes there's what's called special agents, like college agents, there's military base agents, there's cover band agents, there's wedding band agents. And then of course the major league agents typically come once you have a lot of demand in the marketplace. And that's gonna be a little bit later for you guys. Now let's talk about how to distribute and place your merchandise, okay? So where can we sell our merchandise online? You could sell it from your personal websites, like just have like a PayPal account and have people order it and then mail it to them. You could have a Bandcamp widget on your site that sells through Bandcamp. You can go through e-commerce solutions like Shopify and Teespring, and you can also sell on merch on demand sites like Redbubble, Cafe Press, stuff like that. How about offline? You could sell at your merch booth at your shows. You could sell it at stores on consignment. You could sell it when you're busking. Right? And eventually one day you guys are going to get what I call record deals of t-shirts, where you're going to work with major companies like Bravado and Global and Live Nation, where they literally sign you to almost like record deals of t-shirts, right? You get a big advance, you get a royalty against sales, all that good stuff. All right, moving on now. Where can you place your songs? Where can you license your songs? Instead of always trying to go straight to big publishers or go straight to major motion picture films, you need to start small. You need to start with student films and video games. Kids that are like have projects in school and are developing a video game or a documentary, you got to start licensing that way, because they're going to take that film to their teacher, who's going to have connections, or they're going to take that to a film festival, and that will be a way to get your music noticed. You can also do things like what I call out-of-the-box methods. I know one independent artist that literally went around to gyms and got spin teachers to play his music during spin classes. And then, we're in LA, so you're going to have like executives and things like that in the audience, spinning and exercising. And this person got a publishing deal because somebody was in the audience at a spin class, heard his music, liked it, signed him to a deal, and now that person makes over $100,000 a year in what's called micro placements. I have another student that actually went to a YouTube influencer that did makeup and got them to use the song in one of their videos, and boom, his Spotify streams shot up to over 1 million. All right, moving on. What else can you do? There's things called music business registries. My friend Rich Ezra has the music business registries, which are a list of publishers and song pluggers and music libraries, where you, if you're brave enough, you could reach out and maybe try to pitch these people that way. There's Creative Commons websites where people will post music and they'll license their music on a limited basis. And then, people that want to like maybe use music on a limited basis, they'll go to that site, maybe use a piece of music. And in one particular example, somebody that was doing a big documentary film for the History Channel used somebody's music on basically for temp music, and then liked it so much, contacted the person and actually did a big deal with them. You could go to local businesses. I literally, myself, personally, went to a local business that was advertising on the radio, and I said, hey, I wrote you a jingle. And believe it or not, they used it in the radio commercial. I mean, there's what's called listing services, like Taxi Music, where you can pay for them to send you listings of people that are listening or looking for music. You could go to trailer houses, like Position Music, or you could go to music libraries like Riptide or Killer Tracks. And then, you could go to an established music publishing company. I don't want to, I hate to do this to you guys, but you're not going to get a major music publishing deal until you have a lot going on. So this is what's called place or distribution, and the marketing process is a very important step. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to leave them for me and I'll answer them for you. My website is www.bobbyborg.com. Just go ahead and leave me a message. Or this video is going to be posted where you can leave a comment or a question on that youtube.com/BobbyBorg. So I hope you guys enjoyed this short office hour. You can see, man, I'm sitting at a very, very beautiful plaza. It's a beautiful night out. Yeah, let's get a shot of that clock in the background. Boom. All right, you guys, peace and love from Los Angeles, California. Later. Take care.